We're staying on this breaking news for you. 2 police officers reportedly shot in Lancaster, California. Police were responding to a burglary call. Shots were fired. This is happening in Lancaster. It's just outside of Los Angeles. The suspect has surrendered. A SWAT team was called in. This happened after dozens of shots were fired at the Indianapolis Police Department headquarters building late last night. No one injured there, but an IMPD spokesperson said that if this had happened during the day, it could have been a different outcome with some injuries. We don't know if possibly worse. And during last night's debate, Indiana Governor Mike Pence defended our men in blue.
The bad-mouthing that comes from people that seize upon tragedy in the wake of police action shootings as a reason to use a broad brush to accuse law enforcement of implicit bias or institutional racism. And that really has got to stop. What we ought to do is we ought to stop seizing on these moments of tragedy. Senator, please, enough of this seeking every opportunity to demean law enforcement broadly by making the accusation of implicit bias every time tragedy occurs.
Maricopa County, Arizona Sheriff and Trump supporter Joe Arpaio with me now. 2 police shootings in just 24 hours, 6 race riots under President Obama. And Mike Pence there was quoting Hillary Clinton saying that she says there's implicit bias in the police forces across the country. Who do you think the police would do better under?
Donald Trump, that's an easy answer. But let me say this, there's a war on cops. I've been saying it for 3 years. In fact, you want to localize it. I had a substation of mine where a guy went in and fired several shots when a deputy was going in. I had another deputy giving out a ticket. He was shot several times. I don't know what's going on. I'll tell you, I've been in law enforcement 55 years, and I've never seen what I'm seeing today. And I have to blame the administration. They'd rather put cops in jail or run police departments and my office. And it's sad what's going on. Something has to be done. I will mobilize my volunteer armed posse next week to protect my deputies and protect the 4 million people that live in my county. And before that massacre in California, 3 days before, I said, all those citizens that have guns, if they're in a situation where there's a massacre, I expect them to take the guy down. That might seem rough talk, but something has to be done on a war on cops.
You know, Sheriff, just looking at the data right here, we are seeing, according to the government, that there has been a spike in officers basically killed in the line of duty this year. We're looking at 40 police officers killed by gunfire. 94 overall have been killed so far this year, year to date. Now, the suspect has not been caught in Indianapolis, but he was firing shots so close at the police building that there's question out there whether or not this individual was sending a message. What do you think?
Well, you know, I just mentioned about them shooting at my substation when the deputy was walking in. So I hope that the police, I'm sure they will do everything they can to bring this guy to justice, or guys. We don't know how many, I presume, at this time.
The Indianapolis murder rate, we're tracking that too. It is up there with Chicago. And that's really interesting that Indianapolis, on a level of Chicago, we know there was a tremendous amount of shootings happening there. What do you know about the crime in Indianapolis?
Well, I don't know. I was a federal narcotics agent in Chicago and worked that state also, Indianapolis, on a drug problem. It's that close. It does have some type of connection, but we have to be careful in that state not to have the situation occurring in Chicago. So let's see what the mayor does there and the police. I'm sure they're going to take some action and not worry about being politically correct like other cities are. Okay, we'll be staying on this story. Always good to have you on the show, Sheriff Joe Arpaio. We really appreciate your insights and your service to the country.